Welcome to another edition of Soul on Soul with Phinesse. I'm your host, Phinesse. And you know how we do. We bring the best in independent artist music, but we also definitely love it when we get to interview those who have been part of our broadcast life coming into the business. And this young lady that is my guest tonight has been with me as far as music playing since I started doing a show called the Sunday Night Love Flight on Z89 in Syracuse, New York, to my days doing a Quiet Storm for 6 years in New York. Was heavily requested, one of the favorite songs. And people, if you're going to do a remake, she's the queen of showing you how to do a remake right. We're going to get into that later on. But my guest tonight is the one and only Miss Melisa Morgan. Miss Morgan, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm fine. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia today.
and you've been all over. You've been Dubai. You've been,
Yes.
I think you're headed overseas, if I'm not mistaken. You've been really, really busy, which debunks the whole thing of when the so-called older music artist is done, that they disappear. But you have been busy. Talk a little bit about staying busy in this music business and why that's not true, how you can stay busy and been relevant.
Well, you know, what happened with me is that, as you know, the Do Me Baby, the Do You Still Love Me, Fool's Paradise, that was like a moment in the late 80s going into the 90s. And that was the time when R&B artists were really flourishing at their best. And, you know, we had managers, we had major record labels paying for everything. And it was wonderful. And then we went through kind of like a little lull going through the 90s into the 2000s, and especially in the 2000s, going into 10s of 2000s and 20s of 2000s because of hip hop. And let's just be honest about that. So we had to constantly reinvent ourselves and stay loyal to our faithful fan base. And in doing that, what we did was tour. We worked because some of us lost our deals and we picked up, you know, like independent record deals, but you still had to get out in that street and you had to work. You had to let people constantly see you to stay relevant and stay in their minds. And then they started, you know, they call it the old school, you know, OLE school, you know, because I'm not OLD.
That's right. You tell them you not.
So, you know, it was just a matter of me basically taking control of my whole vision of what Melisa Morgan and my empire should be. And that went about, you know, restructuring, started my own production company, firing some managers, firing some people around you, hiring some different people, and really taking more control of your life and your career so that you would have it hands-on about how to do what you needed to do. You know, because sometimes people get so flustered in wanting to be what people think you should be, they forget about what you need to be. Yeah.
Right. That. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Melisa Morgan on the Soul on Soul with Phinesse family, doing her thing and talking about her music and her career. And you know how it is. We keeping you soul connected. And I was so excited to be able to get an artist of this caliber on the show, because that means so much to me when I'm able to talk to my heroes in the business. Now, I want to ask you, because you've been around since the 80s. And 80s is when I started in the music business, as growing a name for myself. But I've seen so much that has changed. And one of the things I've said is that Black radio has played a part in not supporting our older R&B or music artists. Do you agree with that?
To a degree. And yes, I do. Because unfortunately, everybody's rent, a mortgage, or a car payment is due. You know what I'm saying? From month to month, from time to time. Everybody is trying to do what they need to do in their lives. And unfortunately, especially in the Black music genre, we go through a pay or play, and it's that we have to do that they have to do that. And it's not just anymore about this is a good song and I'm going to play it because I want to see you, grow. I want to see it flourish. I want to see R&B music have an image and look like that. It's very much like who is the one that has the biggest budget that's going to, do what we need to do to get these commercials, to get this audience, to do what we need to do to stay alive and keep working. So radio, especially Black radio, has fallen prey to that. A lot of artists don't talk about it because nobody wants to talk about it. But I have a new song out called Footprints of an Angel, and it's independent on my label, Asylum Production. And I had to, hire people and see how this whole music industry works with getting records played. And it's a whole different game out there. That Motown thing of we just going to take it to the radio station, and if we look cute, they'll play it. Those days are over.
I'm going to talk more about that in this next segment, but I want to get your opinion of what soul music is. In your opinion, what is soul music?
Soul music is the feeling of gospel. Gospel, I want to say it has a gospel root with a secular overtone. Mm-hmm. That really is what soul music is, because if you don't have that kind of like gospel thing on as that foundation, you kind of lose what soul music is, and it goes into something else. It might go into hip hop, it might go into funk, it might go into this, it might go into rock, it might go into that. But if you have that kind of gospel underlay, you know what I'm saying, then it comes from the heart. And that's where soul music started, and that's where it comes from. Yeah.
All right. Miss Melisa Morgan here, Soul on Soul with Phinesse. And Miss Morgan, for people to follow you and to see what you're up to, do you mind sharing your website if you have one, or your social media, so you can gain some new fans and some new followers?
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Yes. Well, I'm on Instagram, Melisa Morgan. Here's the problem that people have with me. They love me, but they always spell my name wrong. So my name is spelled M-E-L-I accent mark S-A-M-O-R-G-A-N. It's no two L's, it's no two S's, and the accent mark is between the I and the S. M-E-L-I accent mark S-A. So if you just go Melisa Morgan on Instagram, Melisa Morgan on Facebook, Melisa Morgan on Twitter, you'll find me. My face will pop up. And my website is www.melissamorgan1.com. And you'll find out all my information there. Yes.
All right. Now we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about this music business. I think, we're talking to somebody, an experienced veteran, and there's some information I want her. Hopefully she can answer the question and share with you guys. So come on back. Melisa Morgan, Phinesse, Soul on Soul with Phinesse, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Soul on Soul with Phinesse. You know how we do. We keep you soul connected, and you can follow me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We might as well call it Twittergram. And in case you didn't know, Phinesse is spelled with a PH because I'm the professor of soul. So don't spell it with an F, spell it with a PH. Now, Melisa, I got to ask you this question.
Yes.
I had the great Gerald Alston from the Manhattans on the show a few weeks ago, and
Good
he
friend.
said, "Oh, okay, well, you'll like what he said here." He said that today's R&B or soul music has lost the love. They're so quick to just talk about sex and they've forgotten the love. How do you feel about that comment?
Well, yeah, it's really true. I just recently was a guest on Tony Terry's Unsung episode. And we were so happy that he got his episode and he asked me to be a part of it. And they asked me, they said, what is it about Tony Terry and about R&B music, that pulls the strings. And I told myself, it was the romanticism. It was, when we heard these songs, we fell in love. We wanted to be loved. We wanted somebody to love us. We wanted to search for love, and the titles of the song, helped us go through that journey. And now you're right. It's not that. I don't know what they consider hip hop soul, because that's not where I come from. But when I see the videos, that's what bothers me. When I see the videos, and I love them. I love all music. Don't get me wrong. I understand each music for the category that it's in. I just don't like when they cross it over to a category that it shouldn't be in. And when I see the wonderful Cardi B and all of them, that's something totally different than soul. You know what I'm saying? That's something totally different than soul. When you're out there and you're rapping and all I see is TNA and basically I'm seeing you naked on a video, but you're doing it to your music. That's something totally different than what soul music is about.
I think about your song "Do Me Baby," and I agree when it came out, and that's a remake of a Prince classic. But I remember those songs like that, they do bring you back to a time and place. And I remember I was dating a young lady named Felicia Harris. Shout out to Felicia Harris, because I know you're listening to the show. So thank you so much for listening. But that song reminds me of her. It does bring you back to a time of love and space, back when it was just about the music and feeling that love and emotion, instead of we just gonna get it on and have sex. So
well, you know what? I go in airports, I do shows, and I hear people talk about how, Do Me Baby, I made my first baby, Do Me Baby, and my first child is named Melissa, and it's really wonderful. I don't see that happening on a rap song. You know what I'm saying? So yes, soul music, R&B music is more about, like I said, that foundation. Most of us come from church, so that foundation, when you hear that, even though you might not be singing about Jesus, but when you hear that underlying tone, that underlying feeling, it brings out something different. I mean, when you hear something, my baby, and I got chains on, and I'm gonna kill you. And when I see you, that's going to take a whole different thing, and that's what hopefully is now separating us from the hip hop and the soul, because what's happening in hip hop and rap with, unfortunately, them killing each other and doing that kind of stuff doesn't happen in R&B.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we don't start targeting people and saying I'm going to get them. You know what I'm saying? When are they coming in concert so I can see them and get that feeling again?
Let me ask you this question, because one of the things I always tell people, you're going to do a remake, make the remake your own. When I heard "Do Me Baby," I don't remember Prince being the original. It was some months later when I was like, oh, Prince did do the original. How did you go about making that song your own? Because the "Do Me Baby" Prince did is sets alone. It's in its place, but yours, you could feel the love and emotion, make you want to go out and buy some roses for a young lady and just chill with a bottle of wine. How did you come about and making that song your own?
I was blessed with coming up in the industry at a time where we played clubs. We played the Cellar. We played McKell's. We played Under the Stairs. And we would do 2 and 3 shows a night. And I worked with wonderful people like Johnny Kemp and Timmy Allen, who turned out to be a wonderful songwriter for Change, and Joe and all those people. And we would have to do 3 shows of cover songs. We didn't have the hit records yet. You know what I'm saying? We were just the band that everybody came to see. And we had to take these cover songs that everyone loved and turn them into a show and interpret them in a way that when those people came to see us, you know, we wasn't the original artists, but we were such talented musicians that we could turn those songs around and make you believe, you know, what we were singing about, just like that. So I came up in a time where imitation was the highest form of flattery. You see what I'm saying? So I would imitate and then create. Imitate a little bit and then create, because you can't be a Patti LaBelle. You know what I'm saying? But if I have to sing If Only You Knew, I have to incorporate a little Patti LaBelle with a little Melisa Morgan, you know, and then the band has to do something different. And I grew up in a time where we created different stuff inside of songs that were already out. So when they said do me baby, it was like second hat to me. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but how are we gonna do the female version of this? You know, so it was never like, oh, I gotta do it exactly like Prince. I never ever thought like that. It was always, okay, so how are we gonna do it and make it Melisa's song? How are we gonna do Love Changes and make it, you know, my song? Even my new song, Footprints of an Angel, has a sample of Ain't Nothing Like a Real Thing. And we said, okay, well, how are we going to use this Ain't Nothing Like a Real Thing and put Melisa on top of that and make it a whole different song? Yeah. So that's how we did it. Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get more into the new song from Miss Melisa Morgan, have her introduce it and play that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about her and her music. So come on back. Soul on Soul with Phinesse. You know how we do. We all about the soul, baby. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Soul on Soul with Phinesse. It's your boy, Phinesse Dimps, along with Miss Melisa Morgan, my very special guest, playing homage to those who have paved the way for myself, paved the way for love music from the 80s. I am an 80s, 90s baby, you know. So This was my era. This was my era. And when coming up, I had to know what love songs to play. And this was one of the many artists who graced my needles, my turntables, and helped me play those great love songs. And speaking of love songs, Miss Melisa Morgan, let's talk about what you have currently, current projects, what you have going on now, and what's to come in the future.
Well, we are so excited that I have had basically one of the #1 independent songs that came out this year. And it's called Footprints of an Angel. And I did the song because I'm co-starring in my first movie called Footprints of an Angel, and we wrote this song around the movie. I play the mother of a young lady who's out in the streets and did her thing and got hooked up with the wrong people and did drugs and came home and cleaned herself up, and we were so happy that she came home. But when she came home, she found out she had cancer and she died. And I play her mother, and I have to sing at my own daughter's funeral, which I wouldn't wish on anyone. And we came up with this song, Footprints of an Angel, which has a wonderful snippet, the loop of Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing in it, that my fiance, who's also a producer, he did the music for it. And we just thought this song was so appropriate because after coming from 9/11 and after coming coming from COVID, I'm going back to 9/11, but after coming from COVID-19 and everything that we went through those 2 years, we lost so many people. You know, we lost people in 9/11 too, so I'm not taking anything away from that. That is a part of this as well. But I just wanted to do something because we were stuck in the house and so many people passed away and we couldn't express ourselves.
Right.
Because we couldn't go out. We couldn't go to the funerals. We couldn't go, and be with people that we wanted to be with because of the COVID and lockdown and all that stuff. So Footprints of an Angel is the type of song that helped you deal with all of that because it talks about, losing a loved one, the loss of a loved one, but in a good way. Not, that we're so sad. We're talking about that we're going to hang on to the memories and we're going to keep the memories alive and how are we going to go on without you because you were my footprints of an angel, so we did the video and this song is on my label, Asylum Production. This is my first produced record on my label, Asylum Productions, and we went #1 independent on the urban charts, on the R&B charts, and we did very well with what they call media base, the radio charts. We went to top 30, and we feel really, really good about it. And we just saw the trailer that came out today for the first time. So you can see it on Facebook and on YouTube. You can see the trailer for Footprints of an Angel that has my song in the beginning of it. Yes.
Well, congratulations on both the film and the song. When is the film coming out? Is it coming to a movie theater or is it coming to a streaming service?
I think it's going to do a little bit of both. I'm not the executive producer, but I was so glad to have my first film role with this movie and have such a strong part in it. And you'll see me, in the trailer for a quick second because it's a trailer. But I hope it comes out on both, but that's not for me to decide because it's not my movie. I'm just a part of it. But I hope it because I watch Hulu and Prime Time and Netflix and all that stuff all day long sometimes when I'm at home. So I hope it does a release in the movie theaters, and I hope it comes on streaming as well.
All right. So what I'm going to do, Ms. Morgan, now I'm going to let you introduce your song. We're going to play it here on Soul on Soul with Phinesse.
Oh, hi, this is Melisa Morgan, and I just want you to listen to something that came straight from my heart, my new song, Footprints of an Angel, that's connected to my new movie, and I hope it touches your heart like it did mine. Yes.
Here it is, Soul on Soul with Phinesse and Melisa Morgan. Welcome back to the show. I've already heard the song. I'm glad you guys got to hear it too. Love the song. Love the song. Thank you, Melisa Morgan, for all that you do, especially for music, and still keep pressing on and doing great music and great shows. I have to ask you, what advice would you give to the young women that are coming up in the music and entertainment business today? What would you share with them? What advice?
Don't come in here in this industry with rose-colored glasses. We used to could do that in the 80s, and people would pick you up, and you had people in the industry that would grab you and take you along the way and make sure that you were successful. It's not like that no more. Learn this business. Learn about your publishing. Learn about your songwriting. If you're a songwriter, make sure you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, and that what is supposed to be yours is yours. And I tell you this why. I'm going to give you an example. I did Do Me Baby and all that, in the late 1980s, right? And at that time, I did not have control of my artists. That you call artist royalties, because when you record, right, they pay for everything. They pay for your studio, they pay for this, they pay for you promotional, all that stuff, and you have to recouping, and they have to get all that money back. Now with me, with Capital, it was millions. It was millions, really,
Mm.
to promote a Melisa Morgan and get that brand up the way it was. It was millions. So I didn't get a dime from artist royalties. Now, as a songwriter and stuff, I was getting money there, because you did your deals and stuff like that. And one day you'll have me on your show and we can talk about that. But as an artist, as Melisa Morgan, the artist that sang everything, I didn't get a dime. I got my advance and I didn't get anything else because it was kicking out so much money. Right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Now we go here. We're now in 2022, right? They've gotten their money back, right? So if I had to cross my eyes, cross my T's and dotted my I's, they call me. Universal has now bought Capitol Records, and now someone calls me and says, "There's money waiting for you." Not as a songwriter, not as a publisher, as an artist, because they've made their money back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So then, right, you go through all of that. You go, oh my goodness. Well, really, what did I do? And you go through the channels, because it was going through my accountant at the time, and he's passed away, unfortunately. And they said, okay, well, now it's coming through to the artist, and we did everything we need to do, and then then you get a check for over $100,000.
Wow. You heard what she said. Cross your T's and dot your I's, ladies and gentlemen, in this business.
Yeah.
And and it is a business. It is not fun and games. It is a business.
Right. So if you do that, then it will come back around to you. But you have to make sure you have everything in order. Know about your management. Know where your money is going. Listen to Oprah. Listen to Oprah. She says, make sure you know when you sign that check where that money is going. And don't be so crazy about, I have to have the latest car and the most expensive jewelry, and I want a $50,000. Invest that money in some property, some real estate, in investments, so that it'll keep coming back to you. It'll keep coming back to you. Yes, jewelry is very nice, but you won't get any money back for that until you sell it, right? So, real estate, if you get in real estate and you do an Airbnb, you rent it out, you do something, that money will keep coming to you. Yes.
Dropping knowledge on them, Miss Melisa Morgan. We might have to have you for our music conference. Come talk to these folks, because I don't think they hear you. I don't think they hear you, Melisa.
I love to. Yeah, they don't hear. They don't hear. They just see. They see Cardi B, and they see the nails that cost $300 every time you go to the nail salon, and that's what they want. And money is flying out, and nothing is coming in. Yeah.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for being on Soul Phinesse. It is a pleasure, and I'm so glad that you did take my call and you are on the show. It means so much to myself and Corey Bivens, who's the other executive producer, because we always want to make sure our artists that we grew up with, they get just as much sunshine as the new artists, because without you, there will be no new school. So we appreciate you so much for that.
Thank you. And I hope I spread some good advice that will help some people coming up. Do some good things. Yes, and that's important.
Definitely will.
And we want to see them shine too.
All right.
We don't want to hear the bad stuff. We want to hear some good stuff, right?
That's it. That's it. That's the truth. I want to hear somebody make themselves into a millionaire by doing it the right way.
There you go. Yes. Amen.
All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Soul on Soul with Phinesse. You know how we do. We'll be back again next week. Same soul time, same soul channel. And of course, your same soul host. And you know my name, Phinesse Demps. Soul on Soul with Phinesse. If you have a question or comment, hit me up, Soul on Soul with Phinesse @gmail.com. And if you miss any portion of this show, it will be a podcast that Monday of the beginning of the week. So make sure you check it out on podbean.com. Until we meet again, for Melisa Morgan and myself, Phinesse Demps, have yourself a great week. Peace, love, and finesse. And we're out.
another Soul Media production.